完璧などありえない。この世界は不完全だから美しい。もう
バカ何？俺は海賊王になる。なんて美味しさなの。
力を渡した時に言ったことを覚えているかい？くれ。違う、そこじゃない。
変態。遅い。
Hello and welcome to More Than Hentai, a podcast that's here to show you that anime is far more than just tentacles and catgirls. There's also countless stories of love, loss, laughs, hope, horror, and happiness that are just dying to be found. And I, Brendan White, the Salt and Pepper Senpai, am here to help you find them. More Than Hentai is proudly powered by Audio Technica and Dash Water. Go upgrade your audio and hydration games today. And joining me on this episode is someone who might be making their official podcast debut, but is well accustomed to crushing it on the microphone, having worked and rubbed shoulders with many a Hollywood heavyweight during her time at BuzzFeed. When she's not riffing with Paul Rudd or collaborating with Pop Sugar and Xbox, you can find her writing about all things gaming, anime, and culture, with her content readily available all over the interwebs. From an anime standpoint, she's quite the connoisseur of quality content, naming titles such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, Fruits Basket, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Chainsaw Man, Horimiya, Spy Family as personal favorites, and Haikyuu as her ride or die. You can find her on the socials at Isha_Bassi, which is ISHA_BASSI. Isha, welcome to the Riverside Studio. How might you be doing?
I'm doing good, especially after that intro. I mean, how else can you not feel after getting an introduction like that? I feel like I should put that on my LinkedIn or like on my wall.
Maybe on your business card. It's just a giant business card of a wall of text and be like, hey, I'm a big deal. Work with me. Read this and just you will not regret it, right?
Exactly. Just hand over it's like not even a small little card. It's just like a massive thing. I'm like, here you go. That's me. Hire me. Thank you.
It's one of those old like English period pieces where they sort of roll out the scroll and sort of read all the acclaim that the person has entering the room. That'll be you when you're walking into events from now on.
It's very like Game of Thrones-esque. It's like, here are all my titles.
Hopefully just with less murder and incest and drama. Like it's all like it's the PG Game of Thrones. It's the Game of Thrones everyone wants to be at as opposed to the other one where they're fearing their life. But thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule and joining me here for your podcast debut. So welcome. I hope you're feeling good. Hope you're doing good.
I'm so excited. I can't believe I've never been on a podcast before, but like if it's for my debut, it has to be anime and with you. So thank you for having me.
Hey, I wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, I sort of mentioned in the lead in there, as far as a very brief snippet of sort of, who you are and what you do. I think I threw some little teasers out there when I referenced Hollywood. I referenced being accustomed to crushing it on the microphone. So maybe we can sort of talk a little bit about that and sort of your origin story, how you came to be in this big, bad pop culture video game and anime world. And then we can sort of narrow that focus to an anime perspective as well. But yeah, tell us about yourself, because you've got a story I think everyone just needs to hear about.
Oh my gosh, sure. So I guess let's start at the beginning. I've always loved writing articles, stories. I knew I was going to be a journalist, kind of had that within my mind. If you're Australian, you'll remember Dolly magazine. I did work experience there in high school. Yeah, I know. I was I was writing some responses for Dolly Doctor. That was me back then.
Damn, I've got so many questions about Dolly Doctor. I'm happy that we've sort of addressed that straight away.
That was me. I only wrote one or two, but maybe my question was answered by me. But yeah, so after that, I was just like, okay, I love this. I wanted to go into magazines, but by the time I hit uni, that kind of industry was a bit like, oh, we're moving to digital stuff. So after uni wrapped up, I got an internship at BuzzFeed, which, everyone's kind of heard of. You love it, you hate it. It was definitely a big part, I would say, of just the online internet culture.
Mm-hmm.
The listicles, the puppies, the cats, that was very BuzzFeed. But no, it was definitely a place I'd always thought I would end up at and really wanted to. So it was very exciting to have my first full-time job in media be at BuzzFeed. 3 months there, got a permanent position, was there for 6 years. And over that time, I kind of realized that what I loved best writing about was pop culture, anything to do with TV shows and movies, fangirling, that's very much me. I think currently in my Twitter bio, I have something like professional fangirl because that's basically my job. I professionally fangirl over things and then I write about them.
I think that title, that would be a job title that would take many, many years to earn as well. That's not something that you can just sort of inherit overnight or just fall into. I think that's dedication that goes into becoming a professional fangirl. So hat tip to you for putting in the work.
Yeah, I've earned my title. Put in many, many tweets, many screaming about anime, video games. But I feel like in terms of like anime, I mean, I've always loved that since I was a kid. Like I watched like, the Yu-Gi-Oh, the Pokemon, the Cardcaptor Sakura. But then I guess with like a lot of people, I went through like a period where I'm like, not a lot of kids are watching anime. Not everyone was like into it. So like I went through a period where I didn't think it was not cool, but I was just like watching other stuff. And then it wasn't until during COVID, during lockdowns, that I kind of rediscovered my passion for it through haiku, which is, as Brendan said, my ride or die anime.
Mhm.
Like I was definitely going through a rough time during COVID. It was like hard, and mentally, like I was probably at one of my lowest periods. So to stumble upon, like if you've watched haiku, it's just a very wholesome, beautiful, and warm anime, which just teaches you a lot of, I would say, great life lessons, which you wouldn't think at first glance, because like I was the same. I was like, this is, a story about high school kids playing volleyball, and I, for one, am not a sporty person. So why would I enjoy this? But no, you just get hooked. And like, yeah, so if you haven't watched haiku, please watch it.
Yeah, please do.
I'm
It
already
is
plugging
phenomenal.
It's been like what, like a minute, 2 minutes, and I'm like, guys, watch haiku. But yeah, since then, like I've just been about all things anime, writing about it. Earlier this year, I also went to Tokyo to interview like celebs that were at the Anime Awards hosted by Crunchyroll. So that was like a career high for me, and it's like amazing to be in the place where anime was like born. And of course, I went a little like nuts with shopping as well. I was like, I'm not going to bring back figurines, and then suddenly I have like 4 in my suitcase.
I'd be upset if you didn't go a little nuts with the shopping. Like being in the, like you said, the origin of where anime was created, and being in the mecca of that Japanese pop culture fever dream. I would be very disappointed if you sort of came back with, like, memories are great, don't get me wrong, and photos, but
Yeah.
you need something tactile from those types of experiences as well.
Right. And it was just so nice being in like the jump stores, for example, and having people crowd over like the haiku, the jujitsu kaisen like stands. And I'm like, I found my people. Like, here I am. Like, I'm so excited. Like, yeah, it was amazing. And of course, I need to go back to Japan now, tomorrow, whenever I can.
Yeah, well, we can sort of wrap this podcast up early if you want to get going this afternoon to Japan. I'm sure there's some flights regularly leaving our shores to get you there.
Yeah, well, actually, no, I'm here.
Yeah, and you mentioned, as far as some of the titles that you are also a fan of, like not quite to the ride or die level of haiku, which is fine because it is a special anime. You're not going to disrespect haiku in any way, shape, or form, but it's the bit of a murder's row. It's the heavy hitters that you mentioned there, like Jujutsu Kaisen, which is just about to finish the second season, Attack on Titan, which is just wrapped up, Demon Slayer, which continues to go from strength to strength, Fruits Basket, which I think is still one of the best romance / slice of life / supernatural anime of all time.
For sure. I still,
Cyberpunk.
sorry to cut in, but yeah, I still listen to the Fruits Basket soundtrack just on like YouTube, and like it just makes me weep in a good way. But I'm like, see, sometimes when you need a cathartic good cry, I just listen to the Fruits Basket soundtrack, and I'm like, wow, life.
Yeah, life is tough, especially when you're hanging out with a bunch of sort of spiritual, spectral, humanoid animal creatures. But it is a beautiful story, well worth the time. Yeah, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, beautiful in its own way, in its more, I guess, shock factor that it leans into. Chainsaw Man, which is one of the best new anime of the last couple of years. Horimiya, whether it be the sort of the mainline show or the secondary sort of spin-off that we've had this year, and then Spy Family, which is working through season 2. You are eating well as far as good anime content at the moment, I got to say.
Yeah, I feel like some people with anime, they kind of stick to maybe like one sort of like genre. Might it be like shonen or like something. I just kind of consume whatever like really gets my interest. So that's why my tastes range from like Attack on Titan, which is like, a whole mixed bag, very action heavy, very like confronting, to like Spy Family, which is just like serotonin really packaged in like a 20-minute episode.
variety is the spice of life. And I feel we're very much anime kindred spirits as far as this sort of smorgasbord you mentioned, as far as your favorites. A lot of those are on my sort of personal favorite list as well. And yeah, the diversity that you can find in anime, I think the best part of the medium, where you can go from cute, whimsical, quirky, funny to nightmare fueled to emotionally draining. I feel like my heart has exploded, whether it be from good or bad things that I've just seen on screen. Like anime is the place you can go to find anything and everything.
For sure. And I think that's why I tell my friends who haven't crossed the anime barrier yet, which I'm still working on. I'm like, it's kind of my side quest in life to get like my friends who haven't tried anime yet. So I'm like, you know, there's an anime out there for you one day and like you will find it. That's the thing, because there's such a wide variety, as you said, such a variety in storylines. I'm like, one day we will find an anime and you're going to get hooked and you will understand like why I'm so into this.
Yeah, and that's sort of the basis of what More Than Hentai is, where I'm trying to find anime and certain people that I can connect with said anime to find their new favorite thing, their new guilty pleasure, or just to maybe get them from just dipping a toe into anime to be like, you know what, this is a genre that I need to know and watch more of, instead of, oh, it's just a cartoon, it's for kids, it's not for me. It's like, no, you're wrong. There's so much more out there.
Exactly. And I think like for someone who's like new to like anime, it can be confronting as well, because there's almost like too much choice with like, you know, new shows being added every day. So shows like this are so helpful to know like, oh, okay, I'm really into like romance, that kind of sounds up my alley, or maybe this is like more up my alley. And like, yeah, I find it really helpful too. I still haven't watched some of like the bigger anime, like One Piece, Dragon Ball, kind of like dabbled in that. It's just all on the list. Like, Brendan, I feel like you'll be the same. Your to watch list for anime is just like an infinite number of pages at this point.
Yeah, like we're very spoilt as far as every season we're getting a ton of new IP popping up, but also continuations from things like One Piece, from Bleach, and stuff like that. And I'm having a hard time. Like I've mentioned it sort of fleetingly here on the podcast a few times. Like One Piece, I don't get the hype still. Like I'm at episode 200 and I'm like, it hooked me for a second at about maybe 150, and then the next sort of arc that I stumbled into just lost me. And I'm like, I don't get it. And I talked to One Piece Tragics and like, it gets so good. And I'm like, when? And they're like, oh, at episode 500. I'm like, well, that's not good storytelling if I have to watch 500 episodes to get it. Like, respect my time a little more, please. So I'm going to see what happens with this reimagining that they've just announced with the 25th anniversary celebrations from last week. So I'm curious to see what Wit put together, because I love their animation. And I'm optimistic that maybe that'd be my new launching point to finally get into One Piece. Like, the live action was fun and the anime is fine, but you can see that it is 2.5 decades old. I'm like, it doesn't really hold up as a lot of this current stuff, or even stuff from a decade ago, seems to sort of do in comparison.
Look, you're doing better than I am. Like episode 200, I'm on episode 0. Haven't even started yet. So One Piece fans, don't come for me. I know you love it and I respect that. It's just not my cup of tea. Maybe one day I'll see what all the hype is about.
Yeah. And I feel the same. Like, I've dabbled on and off with Bleach. Dragon Ball and Naruto, same thing. Like, I couldn't care. Like, it's not that I'm saying it's bad, but it's just not for me. There's just so many better ways to tell a story that can be condensed and just as powerful, instead of letting these things like give you this payoff over 50 episodes or something. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Time is precious.
Exactly. In saying that, I kind of wish anime nowadays, I feel like they're quite like almost condensed. Like, I wouldn't mind a filler episode or two. Like, give me a beach episode or like a summer festival. Like, I kind of love those.
Yeah, it's true. We need a little bit of a break in the tension moment where, like, all right, we've got a hot spring spin-off going on, you know, we're leaning into the fan service on this one, and then back to the murder and the debauchery after.
Right?
So.
I'm like, give me a break. I'm like thinking about like Jujutsu Kaisen at the moment, where like every episode is just like, so I haven't read the manga, but I've seen the TikTok where it's like anime only is like, if you think it's rough now, just wait for it. And I'm like, what do you mean? It gets more emotionally devastating. Like, I don't know if my heart can take it.
Yeah, it's my favorite anime of 2023 so far, with season 2 of Jujutsu, because that's the thing. You feel like, okay, I've just crossed the precipice of pain and emotional turmoil, and then it's like, surprise, we're only halfway there. Whack, and you're like, oh, I can't keep going on. And I'm scared. I haven't read any of the manga yet too. I'm enjoying that I'm going into these episodes blind because those emotional traumas seem to hit that much harder. I don't know if that makes me sick and twist. I don't know, but like it just has so much more impact. And I've done that with a few anime. I'm up to date with Chainsaw Man now, which is good. But like you mentioned, that first season only being 12 episodes, like give me 24. Tell me more of this story. Like we've got the movie coming out, which is cool, and future seasons, but I feel I'm up to the equivalent of like season 9 of the anime now with the manga. So I'm like, I have to wait so long to see this on screen now, and I have no patience.
I'm in the dark yet, so I haven't read the manga for Chainsaw Man as well. Love the anime, but I'm just like, I've just heard rumblings of people like, there is so much to come and it just gets better from there. And I'm like, so yeah, I'm eagerly waiting. All I want is Mappa though to give like time for their animation workers and everything. Give them appropriate, I can wait, but I am very excited for when more episodes will come.
Yeah, y'all out there who haven't read any of the Chainsaw Man manga don't even know what's coming. And I know that probably is reflective on a lot of manga out there. Like we're talking Jujutsu, and yeah, people have alluded to there's more to come. And you sit there and go, oh my God, I'm so scared. But yeah, Chainsaw Man, I can speak from experience where I'm like, whoa, this goes some places. So let's get it.
Oh my God. Back to Jujutsu Kaisen for a second and talking about like it being emotionally devastating. So I was on holiday recently. I was in Thailand, but I had to keep up to date with Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't want any spoilers. So I remember it was like in the morning when the episode dropped. My friend was still asleep. I decided to watch the episode. And of course, it was the one where, am I allowed to talk about spoilers here, Brendan?
Yeah, you loosely. Maybe don't go into specifics, but we can dance around it a little bit, I reckon.
Yes. I will say that a character that I loved, probably one of my all-time favorite characters, died, and I was just like sitting on the bed, sitting in my hotel room, just like whacking my pillow and just being like, ah! And of course my friend is like, she doesn't watch anime, so she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, my favorite character died and my day is now ruined. And she's like, do you want to go get breakfast? I'm like, yeah, but I'm sad. So anyway, Jujutsu Kaisen fans, I feel you. I was keeping up to date, emotionally devastating, but still so good. Like you keep watching for it because it's so good.
And some of those scenes, like being delicate here with what I say or don't say, but some of those scenes were just so beautiful. Like I'll just say like the beach scene in itself, I was like, oh my God, like this is so serene and so calming, even though there's this blanket of death overlacing this character as well. So yeah, it was very well done. And same thing. Sadly, I was watching it solo with the dogs. Neither of them sort of said afterwards, hey, do you want to go get some breakfast? They just looked at me and were like, harden up, Dad, you big pussy. But yeah, I was pretty drained at the same time.
Oh my God. But anyway, moving on from death and gloom.
Yeah. Let's sort of shift into, I guess, some positivity. And for anyone that is entering the More Than Hentai studio for the first time, thank you and welcome. But the way this podcast works is we're going to do a deep dive on a singular episode of an anime that I've recommended to the particular co-host on that episode. And that recommendation is based off a bit of a Q&A qualifier that I've had Isha fill out here just to get an understanding of, history with anime, genres, maybe sort of tropes that they may or may not like within those genres. And then I try and find an anime that they're yet to watch, and we check out the first episode, and then we sort of unpack it beat by beat. It's full spoiler, the first episode. So listeners, we are going to unpack the plot points of episode 1 of anime in question. We do not go into the broader anime ecosystem here and spoil plot twists and turns and anything like that. So the overall payoff from the show is safe. You don't have to worry. You can watch it uninhibited from us. So that's fine. But yeah, the anime in question for this episode is a title called Your Lie in April, which originated from a one-shot comic. Your Lie in April is a romantic drama manga series written and illustrated by Naoshi Arakawa. It was serialized in Kodansha's magazine Monthly Shonen from April 2011 through to February of 2015. Several months later, A1 Pictures adapted Your Lie in April into an anime television series that aired from October of 2014 through to March 2015. We also saw an original video animation or an OVA episode, which was released in May of 2015 also. We got a live action film as well as various stage play adaptations having been produced and released over the years to come. Your Lie in April currently holds a score of 8.65 on my anime list, and that is based on 1.3 million user reviews and is rated as the 24th most popular anime on the site overall. It is also mine, as in Brendan White's favorite anime of all time, and the story of Your Lie in April is as follows. Kousei Arima is a child prodigy known as the human metronome for playing the piano with precision and perfection. Guided by a strict mother and rigorous training, Kousei dominates every competition he enters, earning the admiration of his musical peers and praise from audiences. When his mother suddenly passes away, the subsequent trauma makes him unable to hear the sound of a piano, and he never takes the stage thereafter. Nowadays, Kousei lives a quiet and unassuming life as a junior high school student alongside his friends Tsubaki and Ryuta. While struggling to get over his mother's death, he continues to cling to music. His monochrome life turns upside down the day he encounters the eccentric violinist Kaori, who thrusts him back into the spotlight as her accompanist. Through a little lie, these two young musicians grow closer together as Kaori tries to fill Kousei's world with colour. So Your Lie in April is what we're going to be unpacking here today. The first episode is called Monotone / Colourful. Where do you want to take this conversation? This show is yours from here on out, Aisha. So whatever you're vibing, we can go straight in on the open. We can talk about overall spoiler impressions to begin with. Where you want to take this discussion? Where you want to lead me on this journey?
You're handing me like a steering wheel right now. It's my turn to drive.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll start with Your Lie in April. I had heard of it before. I hadn't been spoiled by the plot, but I just had heard that this was like an amazing anime. It was emotional. So I was like very excited that Brendan suggested this, especially since it is, as he said, his all-time favorite anime. And I'm like, what a great opportunity for us to discuss like a first-time watcher to the series, like myself, versus like Brendan's thoughts. I'm guessing you've probably rewatched this like a couple times, Brendan?
I've watched it through 4 times over the years. I finished a rewatch just this morning. I'm looking over off camera here. I've got all the manga on the shelf. I'm like a Your Lie in April tragic. Like after I watched it the first time, I was invested, I was emotionally vulnerable, and I'm like, I just need more of this in my life. And I don't know if it was also, it hit the way it did because I binged all 24 episodes in the span of a day. I started at like, I don't know, just before dinner, and it finished at I think 5 a.m. the next day. And I hadn't been this emotionally busted up in good, bad, and somewhere in between before from viewing that I can remember. And I think it was just because I watched it front to back. So I was riding this wave, and I had probably cried for that constant frequency as well. So my eyes were salty and sore and burning by the end of it. And I was just like, what have I done to myself? I love this story so much. I love these characters. And it's just stuck with me ever since. And every rewatch I've done following on from there still hits the same, still hits the hardest, maybe harder because I sort of know what's coming.
Yeah.
But even this morning, like I was shedding a few tears in most episodes, whether it be happy, sad, or somewhere in between.
That is amazing. That is like an incredible reaction, especially to watch all the episodes in one sitting. Like I can imagine it was an emotional roller coaster. And like, when did you finish? You said 5 a.m.
Yeah, the first viewing, it was about between 4 and 5. So like I was tired. I was emotionally and physically exhausted. My eyes, it felt like someone lit matches in my eyeballs because of all the salt and the tear residue. I'm just like, I'm in so much pain. And I carried myself to bed and slept a few hours and then woke up still just emotionally exhausted after that, the night that I had.
That's incredible. So yeah, after that sort of like praise, I was very excited to like just watch it for the first time as well, because like it's always been on my to watch list. So I was very excited to just like dive in. And I guess like my first impressions, well, I mean, diving into the first episode, I feel like I always just go off like the immediate art style, because that is like the first thing you see. And if you haven't watched the first episode, well, the opening scene is just of like cherry blossoms, very beautiful like springtime in Japan, and it was just such like a warm and inviting feeling, a very like bright and fresh color palette. So immediately I was like, okay, I'm hooked in. Was that kind of something similar to like when you saw the opening scene for the first time?
Exactly the same. Like I still annoyingly am yet to go to Japan. So I live, I think, through other people and then through anime especially. And I've got a moderate obsession with cherry blossoms and seeing them. So when it opened with these shots and we're seeing all these cherry blossom trees in full bloom And like you said, it's vibrant, it's warm, it's inviting. And then we get very briefly introduced to Kaori, who you can already see she's just this like ball of positive energy, and she's free spirited and adorable, and she's just chasing this cat around as you're just this free spirited, beautiful soul. So it started on such a positive note, and then it jumped straight into the open. And the song Milk by Goose House is an absolute banger. I've got that on like so many playlists because it's just a jam. And the second I started hearing those first few beats with that intro again, the last couple of days when I've been rewatching, I was like, oh, yeah, this has got me. I need to get this on my Spotify and start jamming it as I'm driving again too, just to fully live and breathe Your Lie in April, because it just starts things off right.
Exactly. And like, it's a really catchy song. Like, I feel like this is an intro. In some anime, like, you're like, oh, okay, I can skip it. I know it. But this is like one you'll never skip. And I haven't. Brendan with like More Than Hentai, he's like, you can watch the first episode, you can go beyond. I have gone beyond, and so far I haven't skipped the intro once, so it's doing things for me. It's definitely going to be added to my Spotify anime playlist.
Hell yeah. Yeah, this open, it's so pretty, and it just pulls that vibrancy through from that cold open scene with the cherry blossom trees. But I love with the opening that jumping between different animation and art styles, and they lean into like heavily throughout this series, like the use of watercolor, which just makes these colors and this art palette stand out more than a lot of traditional anime that you're used to seeing. And we get a few little images, and we start to see this primary cast of 4 that I mentioned in the open as well. So we're starting to say, okay, so this is going to be about this group of 4 people. There's some references to some music in the open as far as piano and violin, but it just feels warm and fuzzy.
Exactly. It sets the tone, I think, for the opening episode really nice. As you said, it like kind of teases the characters and maybe like of some of their fates later on. And with the watercolor palette, like it made it feel kind of like whimsical and nostalgic to me. Like I'm kind of looking back on like my past. And, when you think about like as a kid, I'm like, oh, like as an adult, being an adult's great. But then you're like, I wish I could go back to like a simpler time when like, my main concern was just going to school. And like, if I lived within this world of like Your Lie in April, it would be walking, along the road past the cherry blossoms. We see Kaori playing with like a cat, feeding it like a little treat. I'm like, oh my God, like, let me be a kid again.
Yeah, it's much, much simpler times as a youth. So yeah, it just, pulls you back into that sort of nostalgia moment of being a kid and that free spiritedness and the, not a care in the world type of mentality, or just seeing these kids just run around and be free and be themselves. And it's really nice. And some of the shots in this open, they're a little bit dreamlike, a little bit ethereal, where we're sort of seeing these sort of little musician exchanges with the piano and the violin there. But it's just so pretty. It is so pretty. And it hooked me from the get-go, the art style and just that mixed media animation they're sort of weaving in pretty seamlessly throughout this open.
Yeah, I loved it. And then, of course, we go from there. I think we're introduced to Tsubaki, and then we see Kousei as well. And he's been, what's happened is he's in the music room at school on a higher level, and he's been hit by a ball that's been thrown by Tsubaki. And he's lying face down in a pool of blood. And I'm like, oh my God, we've gone from like bright watercolors, whimsical nostalgia to, is he dead? I was very concerned for like a hot minute, I got to say.
Yeah, it's an interesting open because once that soundtrack with Milk by Goose House finishes up, we get a very brief moment of a little baby, Kousei, playing the piano in front of a crowd. And you're like, okay, what's happening? But then it immediately, flashes forward to Sumiya High School. He's in the music room doing his own thing. And Tsubaki smashes this dinger straight through the window. And I'm like, holy moly, like, is he dead? Is this going to be just some crazy like protagonist shift where it's like, sorry, my name is Kousei and I'm dead. And now it's going to be from the eyes of him being a ghost. And especially with that intro being so dreamlike, I'm like, holy shit, is that what is going to happen here? But we find out that that's not the case because Tsubaki tears up into the music room. She panics though, and when she sees Kousei on the ground, she thinks he is dead. So she tries to grab the ball and like flee the scene to avoid any potential manslaughter or murder charges. But then we find out that no, he's okay. Mild concussion, even though he's blood is flowing.
It's a pool of blood, and I'm like, that looks very serious. But he gets up and he's like, yeah, this has happened before. It's all good. I'm like, what?
It's hilarious. Tsubaki, you can already see that she's a bit of a force where she's just young and free, but I guess leans more into the wildness where she's just crushing it in the athletics area. And then Kousei goes to pick up some of the glass from the smashed window that Tsubaki obviously did from the baseball, but she, out of panic, grabs his hand. No, you can't do that. You can't damage your fingers. So
Yeah.
we're starting to see that, yep, this young little pianist prodigy is very special and very sought after in that world. And Tsubaki knows that you got to look after the potential money earners, right?
Exactly. I actually like really love just that little moment because like when we're introduced to Tsubaki, she definitely comes across as like a tomboy who's really blunt, really outgoing, really just like as, you know, a force of energy. But in that moment, you can just see like she already has such a close bond with her friend here. And she's looking out for him and she's like, no, what are you doing? You dummy. Don't do that. So I don't know. It's like very early on, but you can already see they have a really close bond just through that like 2 seconds right there.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, that plays out over time in this episode and throughout the season, but get introduced to Ryuta, who is the third member of this little fun sort of friendship circle that they've got going on. And he's hanging out in the window taking photos of them as she held the hand. And then we sort of get some further confirmation about this relationship with Tsubaki and Kousei, because he's like, you've been like this since you're little kids. Why don't you just get married already? And then you get that awkward 14-year-old like, what are you talking about? That's wrong.
Like, yeah, we don't like each other. That's gross.
Yeah, super cute little moment there. And you can already see just the camaraderie and the jokiness that they share. They've got a really nice bond, the three of them. And then it flashes forward to the end of the school day and you can see these three walking home together. They go through various scenes and locations. And man, some of these shots are gorgeous.
I know. I just wanted to like, I'm like mentally, I'm like, I want to screenshot this as like for wallpaper or like, I want to print this out. Cause like, it's beautiful to look at. And I'm just thinking, how do these guys like animate this? Like, this is incredible. This is like next level skill.
Yeah, it's stunning. There's one particular shot in this sequence where they're traveling home where we're seeing like the sunset behind them. The color palette is very much just like warm yellows and oranges and a bit of red. And you can sort of see the shadow silhouettes of the three walking across this road. And like you said, like I'm like, I want this on the wall because it is art. Like, yes, it is. But like this scene in particular, it's like, I love it. I want it. I need it.
Exactly. And one of my favorite like things in anime is when they do close-up of eyes. Like, I just think they're always done so beautifully, so wonderfully. And there are a couple close-ups where you see of like Kousei's and Tsubaki's eyes, and they just are so warm and inviting and so like just youthful. Like, I'm like, oh, beautiful. Like, really amazing stuff.
Yeah, the eyes get a lot of focus in this anime constantly through A1, and their animation style is one of my favorites in the space. So yeah, we see these very cute moments where they're walking home together. You can see that this is just their routine. Their whole lives exist around one another, which I appreciate, the friendship and the bond they've got. But then you see the sort of rapscallionness of Ryuta where he gets a text from a girl and he's like, later losers, just smoke bombs, and he's out of there because you can see he's just constantly chasing pretty girls, and that's like his MO. He's just all about the chase and being the apple of many a woman's eye.
For sure. Like in my notes while I was like writing some things down while watching the episode, I labeled him as like the lovable jock, kind of the jokester. He's like kind of the popular guy at school, but everyone loves him and he deserves to be loved. I'm a stan of Ryuta because he does, as he shows later on, he respects women. We stand that.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And like, I remember being a warm-blooded 14-year-old boy. So I get it. Like if a girl shows you attention, even now in my 30s, it's like, yeah, it feels good. You immediately, I guess, want to potentially explore where that could go or whatever else, because, you know, everyone wants to be loved at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So we get that cute moment. Tsubaki calls him shallow, but then sort of segues into asking Kousei, like, are you crushing on anybody? And then goes into this nice little monologue about when you're in love with someone, the world is more colorful and, you know, it can change a person. But then you see this contrast where she's optimistic and very much a believer of love. But then with Kousei, he's like, I don't think I'm going to ever inspire that type of change in somebody. And to hear that from a 14-year-old boy, you're just like, come here, little man, let me hug you.
I know. I wanted to reach into my screen and I'm like, let me give you a hug. You are too young, please.
Yeah, it's heavy. And that moment it's one that pulls on the heartstrings. And then Tsubaki almost kind of puts the boot in a little bit more there, where she's like, you're 14 years old and there's no sparkle in your eye. Your eyes are blah. And you're like, she's imagine getting told that from your long-term female friend here, that you've got no sparkle and you're dead inside.
I mean, I love it. She calls him out basically, and she's like, dude, come on, like, have a little sparkle, love the world a little. Like, you are 14, you've got a long life ahead of you. So I like that.
Yeah, the contrast between the two is great, but I guess that's what works on their bond and why they're such close friends. And then you're sort of getting the different side from Kousei, where he's like, I see the sparkle in Tsubaki's eyes all the time, with just like his internal thinking voice saying that. So you can see where one's full of love and hope and vigor, and then poor little Kousei at 14 years old is just, the world is black and white. I feel nothing. I am nothing. And just like, God damn,
Yeah.
this is heavy.
Yeah, and I think that's really emphasized when he goes into his home, because as we find out, he lives alone. His father's, off working somewhere else. And his home is just, it feels so, I guess, like we've had all these like warm, beautiful, vibrant scenes, and his home is just devoid of all of that warmth. It's like cluttered. There's no love. There's no one to like greet him as well. And I just like, once again, in that moment, I want to reach in and just give him a hug. Because I'm like, you just feel so sad and lonely and like, ah.
Yeah, it's heavy. Like, to think that, and I don't know if this is common practice in Japan, like where a lot of these young adults or teenagers do live alone because parents work so much and they travel all the time. So it's just a 14-year-old boy pretty much living on his own, raising himself in a way. And yeah, it is so upsetting where you go from these big, vibrant scenes throughout Japan to we get into Kousei's home and it's black and grey and dusty and there's litter everywhere. But there is a touching moment where he comes in and he says hi to a photo of his deceased mother. I thought, like, that part there, I'm like, oh, fuck, you get me again, Kousei. Stop it.
We're already getting emotional.
Yeah, I'm emotional, like, just about 24/7, but then watching stuff like this, it just sort of tilts me over the edge. And yeah, I was on the edge here with that moment where you can see his mother's passed away. We don't know the basis of what, why, or how, but you can see that he still loves and cares about his mother very much with that little, hi mother, like, hope you had a good day type of thing. And just like, whew.
He's a good boy. He loves his mom. He's trying his best. That's the thing. And I can't even think about like when I was 14 having to like fend for myself, cook my meals and like, keep the house clean. And top of all that, like do schoolwork. Like that's a lot of pressure on a young kid.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I certainly feel for anyone that is living that life, because school or life can be hard enough without all these other adult-based responsibilities thrown onto your little plate at the same time. So yeah, after that moment, we jump ahead to the next day. We're back at school again. The way they sort of frame these scenes where we're seeing mixed shots of the kids in class, but also the use of the floating cherry blossoms being a constant theme. But then they start to weave in the piano here as well. It is gorgeous. And I love the use of sound in these silent sort of thought-invoking moments that Your Lie in April seems to roll out pretty regularly.
I love it too. Like it's just like I feel like I don't listen to classical music enough. It's like not usually my go-to, but when you just hear it, it's just weaved in at just the most beautiful moments, and it comes in and it just gives you like a beat to like reflect on the story as well.
These scenes here, because while we're seeing the kids at school, we're getting voiceovers from Tsubaki and Kousei, and they sort of contrast and explain how they both see the world. And we get Tsubaki, the world is vibrant, it's warm, it's inviting. But then you're hearing more about Kousei and his feelings and his thoughts on how the world is. And it's in monotone, it's in black and white like piano keys. And this is one of the things that really gets me with Your Lie in April, where it's poetry in a way, with the way they write some of this dialogue, where they allow these lines to marinate and breathe. It's not just machine gun back and forth discussion. There's these little silent moments or these little moments with a handful of words, and it just hits me like a truck. And I'm such a sucker for piano and violin, so it's interesting that both of these instruments are such a big part of this anime. So that's part of why I think I obsess over this as much as I do, because I could sit and listen to piano and anime until my ears fall off. So I get it in an anime with this sort of poetry like dialogue weaved in as well. I'm like, I'm sold. I want more of this forever and always, please.
It's so poetic, and I feel like even when they were talking about, like, when you're in love with someone, like, your whole world lights up, there's more color, your eyes sparkle. I think it's just such a, like, a romanticized view of the world that, like, when you get older, you can often forget about. And that, along with, like, the music, the classical music, the piano, the violin, like, it just, like, I don't know, reminds me that the world is a beautiful place. And when you're an adult, it can be hard to, like, remember that. So I was very thankful for, like, as you said, this, like, poetry reminding me that, like, I mean, like, look at the world around us. Look at these, like, cherry blossoms, floating cherry blossoms, this beautiful art. And, like, I do miss when I was younger as well, the whole giddiness of, like, a crush and making you feel that way. So I remember when I was watching this first episode, I'm like, the characters are obviously very young in comparison to myself. So they're not as relatable as, I guess, like, if I was watching a main character who was a similar age. But it just reminds you of, like, a sweeter time, and to, love the world around you, to be in love with things, to, like, listen to music, classical music, and just, like, take a beat and take that moment to reflect on, like, the poetry of the world. I feel like that was a bit of a tangent, but, like, yeah.
It's a good tangent, and I agree. Like, you got to take time for those little things. Take time to appreciate those silent moments, those loud moments, that piece of music, that anime you've watched, that game you've played, that meal you've eaten. Like, take time to appreciate and savor those moments, because you don't know when you're not going to get any more moments. Like, life is fleeting. It could all change tomorrow. And seeing these little 14-year-old characters in Your Lie in April realize these things at such a young age, it's really endearing. And yeah, it makes you take a step back and go, yeah, like, life can be tough, but it can get tougher. Appreciate what you've got, and don't die wondering, because yeah, life's short.
Exactly. Oh, we're getting on some heavy themes
Yeah,
already.
we're getting very deep here.
Exactly. And we're just starting. I think we're, like, halfway through the episode. Are we even halfway through?
We're close to halfway.
Yeah.
So after contrasting thoughts from Tsubaki and Kousei, we then flash back to little Kousei again when he's about 8 years old, this young little piano prodigy playing at this big recital. But the first scene we saw of that, he was smiling and happy and getting a lot of applause. But now we're seeing him crying at the piano, and we're getting this voiceover from Kousei again. He's like, I realized in that moment my days of playing are done. And you're just like, what? I beg your pardon? What's happened the last few years?
Yeah.
Why are you no longer playing the piano? Explain to me what's happened, because my heart is hurting again already for this little man.
But I love that, like, in that moment, like, it's a very, like, we're learning more about the characters, and we're already seeing, I think, that this is not, like, your typical romance anime. It's not your typical coming of age story either. There's some, like, dark undertones that explain why Kousei sees the world in, like, black and white, and why he is the way he is.
Yeah, it grounds this anime a lot, and they do jump between animation styles sometimes to show certain emotions or dial up the whimsicalness, but they still manage to ground this realness and this relatable assortment of emotions that these little kiddos feel in a very good way. So yeah, I'm still all aboard at this point. We then see Tsubaki stealthing back into the music room again, and lo and behold, she throws a baseball at Kousei this time, bops him in the back of the head.
No blood this time, though.
Yeah, no blood. Yeah, it was a bit of a playful throw. It was more of an annoyance as opposed to you could potentially die. But then we get this really interesting, like, fourth wall break where they reference the band Goose House that does the intro for the anime, and Kousei's listening to it on his little MP3 player.
Yeah.
Tsubaki starts listening. She's like, oh my God, this is Goose House? Like, they're so big. They're awesome. And I'm like, whoa, this is
like, hold on a second.
meta.
I'm like, wasn't that the song in, like, the opening? I love that.
It was a cool little touch, and it's something that I can't remember happening in anime at all or very often. Like, naturally probably does, but yeah, it was like, whoa, they've referenced the song and the band that the intro is tied to. Like, yeah, it's some Deadpool sort of fourth wall breaking action going on here.
Right.
And after they have this bond over this song, Tsubaki then invites Kousei, because they're playing matchmaker for Ryuta, obviously the man that is after every young girl's heart. And it's kind of cute because Kousei is like, hey, I don't want to come and be the fourth wheel. And Tsubaki says this really beautiful thing where she's like, hey, we can be wheels together. Because if they hit it off and they go, I'd be the third wheel. But if you're there, we can be wheels together. But then she also mentions that this mystery girl is a classical musician. You're like, ooh.
And we're like, ooh, okay, okay. And I feel like he was internally doing that as well. He's like, okay, I'm interested. I'll come along.
Yeah, so that moment was really cute. We find out also then that Kousei hasn't played piano in over 2 years now. So there's been a couple of year lapse from that moment, from when he broke down on stage when he was 8. And we also then find out too, through some more monologuing from Kousei, that his mother's dream was to raise him to become a world-class pianist. She ran a music school and was pretty much pushing her dreams onto little Kousei, which is a lot for a little fella to take on.
For sure. I can't imagine how big the pressure would have been, and it explains why he kind of stopped playing, because his love of piano was so tied to his mother and her goals. So once she passed, it was kind of like, I don't know, like having a bit of a breakdown at such a young age.
Yeah, which is insane, because he's reflecting on this, saying, he did everything he could to make her dreams a reality, but then 3 years right on the cusp of, I guess, global stardom is when his mother passed away. And then he says this other line where he goes, without the piano, he has nothing. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is a lot for this young 14-year-old. He's carrying so much grief and so much turmoil on his little shoulders. And yeah, another moment where I'm just like, come here, Kousei, let me cuddle you and try and make these things better, because it gut punched me big time.
Exactly. And like, I can imagine his feelings towards his mum would be so conflicted, because on the one hand, she's his mum. You love your mum. She got into piano. He admired and respected to her. But as we can see in the flashbacks, like, she actually wasn't the best mum. She was abusive towards Kousei, and like, obviously that would have kind of twisted his perception of her. Now that she's gone, he kind of still loves her, but he would be so conflicted about what to think of her as well.
Yeah, especially as a young man who's obviously, it's been confirmed earlier in the episode, where his father's never around, so he doesn't really have a parental figure there to try and help him work through all these conflictions and all this trauma that he's dealt with. It's just the dad's clearly just jet setting around the world all the time. We never see him in this episode. He's just mentioned as, yeah, my dad's away on business a lot. And you just go, man, like this little guy is just carrying the whole world's problems on these little shoulders.
Exactly.
But you can see Tsubaki can see and recognize all that pain and trauma that Kousei's carrying, because before we jump forward to the Saturday when they're going as wheels for this, I wouldn't say a double date, but like a date, and they're coming along, she's thinking about Kousei and wishing that he would play again. And she's like, oh, she loves him so much. Like, she's got so much care and so much heart towards this little guy, and she just wants to try and make things right.
Exactly. She's been there since like day dot. I'm pretty sure in the flashbacks, like, she was at the concert where Kousei, like, he broke down into tears. So she wants what's best for him, and she's hoping that he can pick up the piano again, because he loves playing the piano, or like, we assume that he likes playing it.
Yeah, it's such a touching and sincere friendship or relationship that they've got. And you can sort of see this, they're just peeling back these little layers. And like you said, it shows that they've known each other since they were tiny. She was there through those high points when he was becoming a pianist prodigy. And then she was there at that breaking point. She's still there now, occasionally causing blood to come from his head via baseball injuries, but it is what it is. But we jump forward to Saturday. Kousei's first to arrive at the meeting spot where this introduction/date's about to occur, or at least he thinks he's there first, because we then start to get introduced or reintroduced to Kaori, who we saw at the start of this episode chasing around that cat with her positive mindset on life and just free-spiritedness. And that free-spiritedness is fully on display again here, because at first he finds some shoes and some tights just sort of sitting there in the park, and he's like, what the hell? What's going on? And he hears a melodica playing. And so he walks towards the music, and we see that Kaori is barefoot on the top of this like playground structure with a heap of little kids on the ground cheering on as she's just playing this melodica, barefoot, no tights, just living her best life.
Yeah. And what a scene that was. I'm like, you have an image of such a carefree person who's just like at one with nature and a music, barefoot, wind blowing, cherry blossoms fluttering, and just like living life,
It's enviable.
For sure. I'm like, when have I ever felt that carefree in life? I don't know.
maybe after this podcast, you can take the shoes off, take the tights off, and go play an instrument at the park. See what happens.
Exactly. And I love how I think it's like just like a second or two later that it's revealed that the little kids are trying to gather the pigeons. That's what they're doing for fun. They're trying to get the pigeons to come. I'm like, that's adorable.
It's super cute, but there's a moment in between this free-spiritedness and then the cute moment where they're trying to attract all the pigeons, where she stops playing the melodica and you can see some tears falling from her eyes. And there's just this really silent moment again in this scene here where Kaori and Kousei, they lock eyes together and you get that really tight shot with the eyes of both respective leads here. And you're just like, oh, okay, is this the moment where they fall in love? What is this? But there's some strong emphasis in this scene where it only goes for a few seconds, but it feels like they sit on this moment for a good long, just enough for it to hit. So Ishiguro, who's the director, knew exactly what he was doing here in this moment, I think.
For sure. And the decision to like just cut the music and have the silence for those beats just made it feel like, I don't know, as you said, like it just went on for the right amount of time and you're trying to figure out what Kousei's thinking, what Kaori's thinking. I mean, she's emotional. He's obviously been lured in by her music and never seen, I guess, someone so carefree in their playing of a musical instrument. So yeah, one of like the best, I think, moments from the first episode for sure.
For sure. And so she regathers herself, wipes away those tears, and then has a bit of a powwow with the kids. And she's like, all right, let's form this pseudo band in this park. So they're all playing together and trying to attract this flock. I don't know what you call a group of pigeons. A flock?
I'm going to say a flock. Yeah.
Yeah. So a flock of pigeons. And then Kousei is standing there watching on, and he whips out his flip phone as all young anime characters seem to have. Whips out the flip phone to take a photo, and he mentions that, this looks like something out of a fairy tale. And I'm like, it really does. Like, it's so, what would we say? Like, it's such a fantastical scene where it doesn't feel like it's reality, but then it's like, well, I could completely see this happen. I just don't know anyone as free-spirited as Kaori to make this an occurrence in my park down the road.
I agree. Like, I'm walking down to my local park and I'm definitely not seeing someone just playing a melodica. I think that's the first time I've heard of that instrument as well.
It's a cool instrument too. Like, we've got like a mouthpiece tied into like a keyboard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something that was new to me. I had to listen back a few times to get the writing down for when I wanted to mention it in my notes here, because I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that instrument is, but I kind of want one.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like while looking at her, I don't know, I just thought she was very ethereal in that moment, like almost like, I don't know, I remember when I was younger, I used to love like thinking about like fairies, like in a garden or in the woodlands. And that's kind of a similar vibe from what I got here, in that when you're saying it is kind of like fantastical, and that, I don't know, she's just like this beautiful creature that Kousei has stumbled upon, and she's so carefree and free-spirited. She's one at nature. So yeah, I don't think I'll see that in real life anytime soon. If anyone wants to come to my local park and play the melodica, I'll come watch. Until then, yeah, a scene that I haven't witnessed before in real life.
Yeah, so it's a very memorable scene, and I think you used the word ethereal. I think that's perfect because it is very not of this earth, not of this world, and Kousei is swept up in this moment, and then we get this moment escalate further where all the pigeons arrive and we get this giant gust of wind that pushes through the scene just as Kousei's taking the photo. And so then Kaori sort of snaps out of this ethereal type of mindset into like, what are you doing, you perv? Because she realized she doesn't have tights on. So she feels he's taken snaps of her in her underwear when the wind pushed her dress up. And she freaks out. What are you doing stealing my clothes? Because he's still holding on to her tights at this stage as well for some reason. And she charges over and beats him on the head with one of the kids' recorders. And it's just this really cool, rapid change between dreamlike fantasy, this is beautiful, I'm getting sort of drunken on this scene, to, all right, no, this guy's a perv, whack, whack, whack. Lessen the animation down to sort of something a little bit more simplistic to show the drama. And it just works.
Yeah, I love that. I think we see a completely different side to her as well, the two different sides to her personality. And look, Kousei's head, it's been through a lot. It's had baseballs thrown at it. It's had a recorder. But I love seeing this little humorous side. Like, I think the comic relief kind of took the edge off during the heavy emotional scene. So I was glad for a bit of like a hee hee ha ha moment.
Yeah, it was needed because like if you're constantly just getting punched in the gut, you're going to get sick of that. So if you can break it up with a little bit of lightheartedness and some quirkiness, whether it be from the animation style change up or just the tone overall, I think it really worked. And so yeah, she's going to town with this recorder, leading to more CTE issues that Kousei will have down the line. Then we get Tsubaki and Ryuta alive, and we get the arriving, and then we get the formal introductions, and you can see that Ryuta he's very much slipped straight into the hot jock, as you referenced.
For sure. He's the cool guy, and he's like, hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's hilarious to see him just ease right into that role, but also we see Kaori, like you said, where she's shifting between mindsets here, where she's almost playing a devil and an angel, where she's like, oh, like, Ryuta, you're such a cool guy, and sort of fawning over him, but then she pivots to Kousei really quick, and she's threatening to kill him if he says anything about what's happened, and you get like the angry devil look and the red eyes and whatever, and then she's back to angelic, back devil. Like, it's really, really well done and really well animated as well.
It's hilarious. And I'm pretty sure there's a bit of like internal monologue from Kousei just being like, I'm terrified.
It's great. It's great. And a lot of us have probably been in that situation over the years for one reason or another. So I can relate to what's going on here. And yeah, so Kousei's copying the devil side, where Ryuta is taking the angelic side. But then you get Tsubaki quickly shutting this down, puts a gentle boot into Kousei, where she's like, she's out of your league, and all you are is the ever dependable friend A. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
I think if I was ever introduced as friend A in any situation, I would kind of just internally shrivel up and die. I'm like, oh, I am friend A.
Yeah, I don't ever want to be known or introduced to anybody as friend A, because that sounds like the bottom of the barrel. Like that is sure. the gum on the bottom of the shoe type of thing here. And I don't want to be known as friend A. So please, anyone out there, never do that to me.
No, we respect us by our names.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So that was a moment again where they lent into the humor. It was a little bit painful. It was a bit of a jab. And you can see it was tying into this friendship that they've got, where they can shit can each other a little bit and stir each other up and poke fun where applicable there. So we have that moment, but then Kaori realized, she's like, oh, it's late. And then we flash to we can see the Tower Hall in the background. And it's alluded to that there's a musical competition to be held there. And she picks up a violin and she starts to head towards the Tower Hall. And she's like, if you want to find me, look on stage. You're like, what? Another budding musician? What?
Yeah, that was like a little bit of like a jaw drop moment for Kousei as well. He's like, because that's the place he last performed at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like, I mean, he obviously wants to see her play, but then it's kind of confronting his past for him.
Yeah, and you can see it makes him feel a little uncomfortable immediately there. But Tsubaki, as she does, she rallies the troops and she's like, no, we're going to go watch Kaori. But yeah, Kousei's like, no, it's not happening. But just like near the start of the episode where she grabs his hand from grabbing the glass, she grabs his hand again and saying, come along, and sort of unwillingly drags him along to Tower Hall to see Kaori perform on stage. But then we get another really beautiful close-up shot of Kaori and Kousei's eyes again, and there's so much emotion in this scene here where the feelings were bubbling over a little bit in these last sort of scenes before we cut to credits.
Yeah, I agree. Like it was just hinting at things to come. And like, obviously I won't spoil anything, but I have watched ahead. But yeah, it was just, it left the audience wanting more for sure. And it gave that hint of what's to come. You could feel the tension bubbling, the tension between them, and you just want to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, so before we cut to the ending, Kousei he drops this one line again where he's like, spring is blooming all around and I am taking off with you. And you're like, oh, my heart, I mean, it's exploding from good vibes now. We've ridden this roller coaster over these 20-odd minutes where it's high points, some low points regarding losing his mother, living alone, not feeling anything, living in this monotone world. So now there's a strong hint where it's like spring is blooming. Will he see color again? Will he find love? What's going to happen? And then, yeah, we cut to the ending and we get a lot of static images focusing in this ending. It's very pretty. Some of the stills in this as well could look great on any person's wall, but the ending shows a lot of focus on Kaori. And yeah, that's the first episode of Your Lie in April, known as Monotone / Colourful, What did you find, or what did you think about the episode overall?
I think it was a great episode that really, it set the tone, you know? It had the really nice, vibrant color palette, the warmth of the characters. We had, you know, the kind of four main like MCs, and you got to know them a bit. Like, as we said, Kousei is kind of like the awkward, bit shy teenager who has the really tragic past. Tsubaki is kind of the blunt ball of energy that's like hilarious and like, you know, she is ride or die for like Kousei. We have Ryuta, who's kind of like, I want to see more of him as well because he's just hilarious. He's there for comic relief, but I feel like there'll be another side to his personality. And of course, Kaori, who kind of has a bit of an air of mystery to her after the first episode. You want to know more about her background. She plays the violin, a different instrument, and you want to know how she'll fit in to Kousei's life, especially now that they've got that connection and he's seen her play. So yeah, I loved it. Like, it was just a ball of warmth for me. But I did love how, as I said this earlier, it's not your typical romance anime. It definitely teases at some dark things to come, which, you know, that will hurt on the heart, but I think a great storyline to come.
Yeah, the writing in Your Lie in April is some of the strongest that me personally has ever experienced in this medium. And yeah, it just goes from strength to strength, episode to episode. It builds, it zigs and zags where you think you might know the story, but it goes in another direction. And just seeing these four young leads where it feels like Ryuta and Tsubaki, they're pretty comfortable in themselves. They're confident in themselves. They know who they are. You know, one's the athletic baseball star, one's the soccer star. You know, that's going to be their life. We're going to become big professional athletes and life will be great. But sort of seeing the realism that life isn't always perfect play out in this episode especially, and like you said, it alludes to some potential heaviness down the line for one reason or another. It really, really grabbed me, and I'm like, no, I got to go. And that's why when I said earlier, after this episode, I'm like, no, I'm in, I'm hooked. And then I watched the other 23 back to back to back until 5, 6 a.m. when my eyes were on fire. But I do not regret that because it's still so special. It still holds up. Like I finished that rewatch again this morning and it still impacted and hit me just the same way it did the first time. So I think that's a sign of good storytelling, good animation. The use of music and sound in this anime is really, really special. And it's just a feast for all of my senses, at least.
I agree. Like, I immediately wanted to watch the next episode as soon as I finished the first, and I did. And then I watched another one. and then I'm definitely going to keep going. I will say though, like, if you had only watched the first episode, I would be like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I'm not sure if I get the hype, but I feel like I was really sold on it by like episode 3. So if you are definitely new to watching Your Lie in April, I would say give it at least 2 to 3 episodes. And I think from then on, I was like, okay, I can see why this is like Brendan's favorite anime. Like, it all starts to really come together. There's like a really pivotal music scene in the second episode with Kaori, which I won't spoil, but it's just beautifully done. And it just like, I could rewatch that, Brendan. I'm not sure if you know the one I'm talking about.
I know the one. Yeah. It's one of my favorites through the entire season.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do watch the first episode, you're new to it and you're like, I'm kind of unsure. I mean, the first episode is all about like kind of introducing things. So I feel like it really settles and picks up pace, and like you get to know more about the characters and see more layers to them in the second and third episodes. And then from then on, it's just like all guns blazing. I'm in for the ride.
I love that. So you've watched the first 3 episodes to date so far?
I watched another one this morning, so I'm 4 episodes this.
That's great.
And I would have watched more if I haven't been working on other things. But yeah, if I could, literally today, actually maybe after we finish recording, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch more episodes.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I'm sad you're not sort of just nipping over to Japan like we sort of mentioned earlier, or heading down to the park to watch someone play a musical instrument barefoot. But yeah, I'm not also upset that you're going to be watching more Your Lie in April because it's so good.
I mean, like, we should just do full immersion. Like, I should head to Japan during cherry blossom season and just watch an episode in the park. Like, that would be, oh my God, we need to do that. That
sounds like heaven.
Right? Okay, so let's put that on our 2024 to-do list. Watch an episode of Your Lie in April with cherry blossom in Japan.
Yeah, I'm writing this right down now just so I don't forget, because that sounds like the best day I will ever experience in my life. So yeah, that's on the docket now. So speaking of best, what was your favorite scene or moment in this first episode? Is there one that stands out amongst the rest?
I would definitely say it's the moment where Kousei like meets Kaori in the park and they lock eyes. Like, as I said, just a decision by the director to cut the music and just have those few beats of silence to really let the story sink in. And of course, the preceding moments with her just looking so carefree and free spirited, and just hear that music. Like, I feel like it just really took the anime to the next level. So 100% best moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's a series of good moments in this episode and future, and yeah, it's very much worth your time. But if we haven't sort of sold you on Your Lie in April as far as something you're willing to jump into and commit to, if you've watched things like I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, March Comes In Like a Lion, Clannad, Nodame Cantabile, Anohana, and Violet Evergarden, they are the most commonly recommended or synergistic anime that are referenced with Your Lie in April. As far as if you like that, you'll love this, and vice versa. So yeah, if you watched any of those I just mentioned and you enjoyed it, give Your Lie in April a go, because yeah, it's my favorite. Hopefully it's going to be one of Ish's favorites once she's finished watching the next 20 or so episodes. But we might jump into the last word, which is presented by our friends over at japancrate.com. Experience Japan through snacks and knickknacks through monthly package drops courtesy of japancrate.com. And while you're there, be sure to use 8bit15 at checkout to save yourself 15% and get free shipping to anywhere on planet Earth. So Isha, what is your last word or words on Your Lie in April?
Oh my gosh, this is tough. You're putting me on the spot. I will say one of my favorite things that I've just experienced while watching it is something that I mentioned before. Just the really young, romanticized view of love, I think, is so beautiful to experience and kind of be reminded about as an adult. Because, like, being very honest here, I am single. Dating as an adult is really hard. You have the dating apps, and it almost feels like chore-like. You know, you have to update your profile. You got to like match with someone. It's a lot. But just seeing and being reminded of this very like young, childlike view of love where, you know, the eyes are sparkling, the cherry blossoms are blooming, the world is in color. Like, it just, I don't know, it just gave me so much warmth and like serotonin and just happiness. So I think like if you kind of need that in your life, if you need a bit of serotonin, like as we've mentioned, this anime does go into some like darker themes, but just that lovely view of love and being reminded of being like a kid again is something that like I will always love from this anime for sure.
Very, very well said. And I completely agree. Like, yeah, don't be afraid to take a chance on love, I think, is what this anime embodies in a whole host of things, whether it be pursuing a person, pursuing a passion. You're getting a lot of that in this first episode, and yeah, it's well worth your time, and it'll just make you feel good, like, and it'll make you believe in romance, because yeah, we're so starved of that these days, like you said, with the apps and stuff, where it's just instant gratification, instant rejection. There's no courtship anymore. There's none of those chance meetings in coffee shops and all
Yes.
that hopeless romantic sort of vibe that I long for. And
For sure.
a
Give
lot
me
of
my
other people
meet
long
cute,
for.
please.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if a guy said to me, your eyes sparkle when I look at you, I would be like, oh my God, hand in marriage right now. That's all it takes for me.
I'm probably not too far off. If they just said, your eyes are open, I'm like, yep, sold. Let's get married. Like, thanks for noticing.
Even if they were like, yeah, I've watched Your Lie in April, I'm like, okay, green flag, great.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
out on a date. Let's
Yeah.
talk.
So when are you available for a wedding reception?
Yeah. Do you like a springtime wedding? Shall we go to Japan for the cherry blossom?
Oh my God. Oh. I can only be so emotionally stimulated right now. It's not healthy for my heart right now. But yeah, thank you so much for stopping on by. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this anime, but also making your podcast debut and letting me come along with you on this journey.
Thank you so much for having me and for introducing me to Your Lie in April. As I said, it's something that's been on my radar for a while, but I don't think I would have had the chance to watch it if I didn't get a little nudge from you. So I'm so happy to be introduced to this anime. I can't wait to watch the rest and probably DM you on Twitter later and be like, Brendan, my heart is in pieces. What have you done to me? I hate you.
I'm sorry.
But you know what? It's part of the ride that is July and April. So I'm ready. I'm mentally ready for it.
Yeah, I think is like whatever you consume in media, film, anime, TV, video games, as long as it leaves you feeling something, like some type of emotion, I think that's a worthwhile investment.
Exactly. And maybe I'll be more open to romance. Maybe on a podcast episode in the future, I'll be like, Brendan, guess what? I'm dating someone and they like Your Lie in April. I'm kind of manifesting that if you don't realize that.
I'm hoping that happens. And I hope it's like, I was walking through the park the other day and there was this guy barefoot. I thought maybe he was homeless at first, but no, it was just a hot day. So he took his shoes off and love bloomed from there.
Exactly. And he was playing a Melodica? Oh my
Melodica?
God. Melodica? That's the thing. Can't even say it. And I'll be like, I'd never seen one, but you know what? I recognized it because I watched Your Lie in April. And that's all thanks to you, Brendan.
Yeah, that's it. Your Lie in April is the gateway to love and romance and happiness for everybody. So check it out as soon as you can. Yeah, it's available on Crunchyroll. So get that onto your watch list ASAP. But Isha, I wanted to throw the floor back over to you to shout out, highlight where people can find all your fantastic content. Maybe tell us about some stuff that's coming up and just promote all the goodness that you're doing out there, both now and into the future.
All right. So on all the social media, you can find me at Isha_Bassi. That is ISHA_BASSI, because I know my name's not easy. But yeah, I scream a lot on Twitter because I am a fangirl. I talk a lot about my favorite TV shows. I'm over on Instagram too because Twitter can be a bit of a black hole. You can check
confirm.
out. Yeah.
Twitter sucks.
I know. And no one's like, I'm not seeing your posts anymore. What's going on? It's the algorithm. The algorithm sucks. But yeah, check out my portfolio. I write about a lot of different things. I just recently did this really cool collab with Xbox and Pop Sugar where I got to talk about my favorite video games and interview some amazing women. So I've got a lot planned for next year. So stay tuned, basically. Why am I doing this like YouTube? No one can see me. I'm on a podcast.
If we turn it into video, I'll put a nice little lower third down there so people can see why you're doing this. But otherwise, people just imagine it that are listening to it this in our audio form.
Exactly. Imagine I'm pointing to a little like text box that has like my socials link. Subscribe to More Than Hentai. Watch it.
Exactly. Do all those things and also rate, review, and subscribe all the other podcasts you listen to, not just More Than Hentai, because those ratings, those reviews, they help keep those emotional lights on in our hearts. It takes no time, costs you no money. So just pay those good vibes forward with those subs, those ratings, those reviews, because any form of content creation can be a bit of a thankless undertaking sometimes. So those little retweets, those little ratings, those reviews means the world to us. So if you can spare a couple of seconds in your day to do so, please do it because good karma is a real thing.
Yeah.
So
and if you're
try and get as much as you can.
If you're like a stranger, like if we've never met, like please talk to us online. I love getting new anime recommendations like all the time. Random tangent, but I met one of my now best friends on Twitter. We met for the first time in Japan early this year. So
I love this.
We totally met. She didn't even have like her face as a profile picture. It was just like a cartoon character. So I could have been getting into some deep water, but then we did a Zoom call. And I'm like, oh, thank God you are who you say you are.
Like Catfish is a great show, but I don't want anyone that I know to live that life directly.
Exactly.
So just be careful out there, people.
For sure. But she's now one of my like closest friends. So yeah, if we've never met, but you want to talk anime, please do. And also shout out to Brendan for being a great host.
Thank you. I tried, but you made it easy as well. I was just sort of throwing the ball up and you were hitting it back to me. So it's easy.
It's like easy. Tsubaki, basically.
Yeah, I'm just leaving here with less head trauma than Kousei has, which I'm happy for.
Thank God.
So thanks for not knocking me out.
I promise not to do that next time, or maybe. May get a bit violent and channel my inner Kaori.
That's fine. Quick question too, unscripted, but what anime recommendations do you want to share with either myself or the listeners? Like whether it be 1, 2, 3, 100, what do you recommend people need to check out?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to stick on the romance vibe because that's what we've been talking about. The one anime that I loved this year is called My Love Story with Yamada-kun.
Begins at level 999.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes. Oh my god. If you're a gamer, like you will love this. It is hilarious. The main characters are a bit older, so I felt like I could relate to them in terms of like the struggles, the relatability of dating, and it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun. Please watch it.
Yeah, please do. And it's only like 12 or 13 episodes, so it's not a massive time commitment, but the animation's great. Weaving in that video game world that we like to inhabit as well is really well done. Like you said, the characters are a little bit more mature and developed, so it's a little bit more relatable, but it's so fun. It's one of my favorites of this year for sure.
See, our tastes, we just align.
If you're looking for other romance anime that came out this year too, listeners, The Danger's in My Heart, and also I would recommend The Galaxy Next Door and Happy Marriage.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Yes. Especially My Happy Marriage. That one was
that one got me.
Oh my god. I thought I was going in for one thing and then I got something completely else, and I'm so happy because it's a great story. It's beautiful.
It's really, really good. And the animation is stunning. And it's on Netflix. Netflix have got some heavy hitters in their anime portfolio these days.
They do. Like, I'm just happy for more anime, honestly.
Me too. I'm never going to be sad about that. Also, My Tiny Senpai and the ice cool guy and his calm female colleague. I can't remember the wording on that one, but that's another one that came out this year that was cute as shit.
Oh,
There's too many of them.
I know. That's probably why I'm like hoping for a meet cute, because I watch too many romance anime. Maybe
you can never watch too many romance anime.
That's true. I should never stop romanticizing my life, and neither should anyone listening.
No, life's too short to not romanticize about things. But that brings us to the end of another episode of More Than Hentai. Isha, thank you so much for joining me here. It has been a fantastic discussion. Be sure to follow us on them socials. Obviously, Isha Bassi, which is ISHA_BASSI. You can find me at Brendan8bit. You can find us all as a whole at We Are 8bit, and be sure to rate, review, subscribe us. And if you want to get some tasty merch, head over to shop8bit.net to get the best merchandise in the business. Whether your anime be subbed, dubbed, or still yet to come, enjoy yourself, stay hungry, and much love to all of the gorgeous waifus out there. Goodbye.